What's up, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. Real quick, before questions, we need to send a shout-out and a thank you to Alexander Lynham, who joined our Patreon at the Jedi Master level. Thank you so much, Alexander, and you have a great name.
For our first question, patron Jake and Sooner Thrawn both ask what, if any, elements of Star Wars Visions could be pulled into canon for future stories?
Well, I think that it was the producer James Waugh from Lucasfilm mentioned that they kind of set Visions up for that to happen if people wanted to, that while they were creating these stories, they didn't have to be beholden to anything that Star Wars had ever done before. But, in the future, someone might want to bring in characters or concepts from these shorts into canon. I think that the most likely scenario is the band Star Waver, Tatooine Rhapsody. I mean, that one is already pretty firmly set into the existing universe.
That'd be cool if, this is, very loosely canon, but, in Galaxy's Edge, if they played their song...
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
Over the speakers,
yeah, I'd like that a lot.
And had, the people of Batuu, hey, you heard of this new band? It's great.
I don't think they need to go into specifically, everything that happened in the short, but just a mention of the band Star Waver somewhere. I feel like that's gonna happen eventually.
I think it should.
Yeah. I actually woke up with that song in my head today. I just woke up you are okay.
I guess the English version, yeah.
Yeah. I also think that F from The Village Bride, that Jedi character, that's another one that, specifically mentions the Clone Wars, and we see the battle droids. So the closer something is connected to the existing universe, I'm yeah, I can see that being a possibility. Characters from The Duel, I think, are unlikely, because especially after reading the book Ronin, it's a completely alternate universe. So I think it kind of goes on a case-by-case basis, but, F, Star Waver, I think they are prime for being pulled into canon.
My thoughts on this is, it's more of ideas of things, and I don't know that this would actually happen, but it's more what I want to see happen. I want to see lightsabers that can change colors. I think that's a cool idea, a cool concept. I don't know if that can ever be a canon thing, but we know you can bleed a lightsaber to be red, or a crystal to be red, so...
Yeah, that works for me as well. I think that it's all done through the Force, and Kyber crystal color is set through the Force. So I don't see why a Force user couldn't figure out how to do that. I don't really see it so much being in lightsaber construction, but I mean, whatever. I loved that concept in The Ninth Jedi. I loved how they implemented it, and it's from stuff they were considering for Return of the Jedi, so that all works out. I also like the idea of the dark armor from the twins.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up next.
Why not move Kyber crystals away from just lightsabers and just super weapons and find other ways to play with that idea?
Well, not just the suits, but I think the idea of Force-sensitive people that were created out of the dark side is a cool idea, and that one made me think of the Acolyte, just with all the dark side.
Yeah, what we might see there.
Yeah.
I'm specifically talking about the armor and finding other ways to harness the power of a Kyber crystal.
I want dark side babies. William Bailey wants to know if we could see more Visions novels like Ronin.
I kind of hope so, and I think maybe not novels specifically, but if they wanted to continue the story of The Ninth Jedi, I would absolutely read that in a manga. I think that would be cool.
Yes.
I would be surprised if we don't see any more tie-in stuff from Visions. I think that a lot of it was, this is an experiment, and we're going to see how people respond to it, and we'll do a tie-in story, which Tom, the editor from Del Rey on Twitter, did a cool thread about how they chose specifically the duel as their jumping off point. They wanted to do a book, and they could have chosen any of them. I do kind of wish or hope that they do a Ninth Jedi down the line, but that's just my choice.
I think you could easily make some kids' books with T.O.B.1.
Oh, sure.
And maybe even La Pinocho, but T.O.B.1, I think it would be a cute little, I don't know, what's under middle grade books. What are the
Young reader, I believe, is what they call that.
Yeah, I think that would be a cute young reader book. Just the idea of you can be whatever you want to be.
I agree. Yeah, I do think we're going to see more tie-in stuff and hopefully continuations of these stories. The director of The Ninth Jedi even said in like the behind-the-scenes featurette for it that he's like, we'll see. We might continue this story. It's up to the fans. Which to me does kind of make me wonder if they're going to do a season 2 of this and just haven't announced it yet.
I mean, everyone's been talking about all these other studios that they want to see create similar episodes as the ones that we got. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. I think last week I was like, no, definitely not. Just one season. But honestly, the way that they're talking about it in like interviews and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if we got another season.
Yeah, it's still like not my, I think, top choice for what I want Star Wars to be doing moving forward. But, I had a lot of fun with Visions and it seems to have gotten a good response. I've really enjoyed seeing other people talk about it. So, I wouldn't mind if they kept on going with kind of this outside of canon storytelling and just going wild with it.
Pablo Alvarez asks if Star Wars is starting to lean into droids possibly being Force sensitive. So just talked about TOB1.
And they bring up the J3D1 from Star Wars Bounty Hunter? No, Hunters. That's the game that's coming out. I don't really think so. That's something that I kind of waffle on where I'm like glad that TOB1 wasn't canon because a droid Force sensitive, like you're supposed to be alive in order to connect to the Force. But then that's like just a classic sci-fi question of what does it mean to be alive and is sentience enough or... So it's worth exploring, but I don't really get the sense that that's something they're definitely going to do because even the droid in Hunters is just programmed to think he has the Force, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I think that plays better just as a joke. But this is a tough one because, like, I like the idea of potentially having a Force-sensitive droid, but I don't think it has a place in canon for where Star Wars is at right now. I just don't think they'll go there.
Yeah, there's something about it. But, they could explore it and present it in a way that I do like. I don't know. But my gut says, nah, we don't need to do that.
Like on the basic level of the Force itself, you think that you need to have like living material?
Yes.
Yeah. So kyber crystals, they're living technically.
So I do kind of like the way that they got around that with TOB1, where it's revealed that he has a kyber crystal inside of him. And I'm like, again, exploring the power of a kyber crystal. And like, I don't want to say that there's no way a droid could ever be Force sensitive because like, I don't really think the Force has limitations, but I don't know. That just starts to get into some very weird territory. And I'm like, maybe it's best if we just don't go into it.
Yeah. Damien Vonderhaar wants to know if Piet still would have been promoted if you weren't standing right next to Ozzel when he died.
I love that question.
I do too.
I kind of think no. I do get this sense that he was just in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time. He definitely looks like, oh no, when he gets promoted. But then the Empire, from a certain point of view book, makes it seem like he was a little more conniving and kind of manipulated Ozzel into that situation. So in that sense, I think that he was there for a purpose. But, when the movie was made, I kind of get the sense that he was just a guy in over his head.
I like the idea that Vader doesn't actually know anyone's rank. He's like, you, go fly this ship.
Yeah, he's just kind of
like
clueless.
The janitor.
Yeah, he just calls on a private. It's like his first day. He's like, you're the admiral now. Like, oh no.
I'm like, Vader, you idiot.
Yeah. He exists outside of the military structure. He's in charge of the fleet, but that's just kind of something that the Emperor was like, yeah, here you go. And all the other actual Imperial officers are like, what? So I love, the idea that Vader's kind of bad at his job. But I want to assume that he would have been like, where's the nearest captain?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like on a ship like the Executor, there would be a lot of potential people to promote, but Piet was just, he was right there, so he got the promotion.
Brandon Velasquez and Matthew Kelly both ask what classic Star Wars games we'd like to see get remade like KOTOR.
I'm kind of on the fence on remakes because I tend to want to just see new stuff, but I love the Dark Forces and Jedi Knight games, and I feel like they could really benefit from... It's kind of like KOTOR, where great games, great stories, clunky mechanics, and it would be fun to experience them with kind of modern technology.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, Terrascasi. The Masters of Terrascasi.
That would be fun.
Just like a Mortal Kombat style fighting game, I think would be really fun.
I kind of think it would work too and be successful in a way that like Shaq Fu was a notorious fighting game on the Sega back in the day, and then they remade it and people were kind of like, oh my god, that's hilarious, I can't believe they did it. And like I feel like Terrascasi would get the same treatment. We're like, oh my god, I can't believe we're actually doing this.
Mm-hmm. You can like once you beat the whole game, you can unlock like different outfits for Darth Maul or like Dooku's pajamas. Just like there's endless possibilities.
On a serious note, I wouldn't mind seeing the resurrection of Episode 1 Racer and maybe just call it like Star Wars Racer and kind of expand on the pod racing world a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That's it for patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon where we left you a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. Just $1 a month will get you access to extra Star Wars Explained content like audio commentaries for the films, and we're doing audio commentaries for Visions right now, so the dual commentary is out today. Also, I wanted to mention that we were recently on one of our patrons' podcasts, Genuine Chit Chat, so I'll link to that in the description as well if you want to check that out. It was a lot of fun.
On to YouTube questions, Colin McSorley asks how the Grand Inquisitor's spirit wound up trapped in a Jedi temple in the Star Wars comics.
Yeah, we kind of, we talked about this a little bit, not this specific question, but kind of dark side spirits and how that would have to change for KOTOR because they just work differently in canon than they did in Legends. But honestly, and people called me out on this, is they do kind of work the way they work in canon now in KOTOR because they are trapped to like specific locations in the game, which, so is the Grand Inquisitor. So I think that we're just meant to believe that life after death for a Sith is more of a curse. It's a gift for the Jedi. They can go anywhere, do anything. They exist out of time and space. They keep their free will. But someone like the Grand Inquisitor was seemingly cursed by Darth Vader to haunt this Jedi temple.
Yeah, I like the idea. Just that's part of the dark side. It's a curse that will continue. Like if you fully embrace the dark side and you are a Sith, after you die, it's gonna continue to be a burden for your like immortal soul.
Right. It's basically like the Sith cling so hard to life that they sometimes latch onto artifacts or objects or locations. So like Lord Momin was stuck in his helmet, basically. So maybe the Grand Inquisitor had some relic that he kind of latched onto, and then it survived the explosion of that Star Destroyer, and Vader found it and then like plopped it into that Jedi temple and was like, well, you're stuck here now. I'll have to go back and read that issue and see if there's any more surrounding that. But they didn't really answer it. They were just like, the Grand Inquisitor is stuck here.
Now I want to see like a Star Wars Ghost Hunter TV show.
Yeah, we got another Sith stuck in here. We gotta get him out. Send in Luigi and the Ghostbusters.
You have to like exorcise them out of the temple. Elsa Rules wants to know if Qui-Gon joining the Jedi Council in Master and Apprentice would have changed anything for them going forward.
I kind of think it would have. I want to believe that Qui-Gon would have affected them for the better and maybe made them less susceptible to what happened in the Clone Wars. There's also a really great Age of Republic comic about Qui-Gon that I feel like hints towards the same thing. Just, Qui-Gon's views on war and conflict and the Force. I think it's meant to be one of those tragic things that, like, oh, if he had just joined the Jedi Council, maybe he would have helped things out. But at the same time, like, they were already just kind of at odds with the way he viewed things, so it doesn't really make sense for him to join the council.
Yeah, I don't think this would have changed the council that much, if at all. The outcome definitely would have been the same. I think if Qui-Gon had joined the council, he wouldn't have been there for very long.
Like, he would have been kicked back out?
No, I think he would, like, join
left.
And then get the heck out of there. Like, he'd be like, this sucks. You guys don't know how to party.
Like, okay. I like that interpretation, because the one that I was kind of afraid of that I wouldn't like is that if he joined and then they affected him, which almost feels more likely because, 11 other people being around them and their bad attitudes could affect the way he was and the kind of Jedi he was.
I think that's a definite possibility too. Like, that could have just changed everything. He would have, like, not trained Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
After being put on the council, I guess.
Right, because
Obi-Wan would have been given to someone else.
Yeah, that was part of the thing in Master and Apprentice, was that they were going to elevate him to the Jedi Council, and then Obi-Wan, yes, would have had to go to another teacher. But yeah, then Qui-Gon never would have found Anakin. So it would have been interesting to see how the Clone Wars panned out, or even happened.
Did Qui-Gon find Anakin, or did Anakin find
I think
him?
The Force, destiny found them all.
Andrew Devlin asks how a Jedi becomes a member of the Temple Guard.
I don't really know. I don't think it's been established yet. I do remember a tweet, I think a long time ago, from Pablo Hidalgo, who mentioned that they basically cycled through. Like, it was almost like jury duty. That's what I recall. I could not find any trace of that. But that's what I would go with. That it's like, all right, here's your mask, here's your robes, here's your yellow lightsaber. And now you are part of the Jedi Temple Guard for a few years or something.
Yeah. It could also be, when you said jury duty, it made me think of, like, Jedi who maybe lost their way a little bit, and instead of, like, sending them to Jedi prison, they have to do community service and do the Jedi Temple Guard. Or I also thought of being like the Coast Guard, and it's like they have to pay their bills and pay their way through Jedi school. So it's like the Coast Guard. You just join, you just sign your life away for however long, and then eventually you can leave and do something else.
That's how you pay off your student loans to the Jedi Temple.
Kalp Babsar wants to know if we consider ourselves Star Wars experts.
My first response to this was, like, I laughed and thought no, but then I did remember that there's, like, a definition of being an expert on something, and that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert on something. So then I did the math of when we started this channel and how long we've been going, and if we spent 8 hours a day, like, in the Star Wars universe, which is being charitable, I'm underestimating there, we're at like 17,000 hours, and that's not even counting 2021. So I guess by math's definition...
Or, I mean, all the time we spent with it before we started the channel.
Exactly. I'm just talking about the channel. I still, like, hesitate to be like, yeah, I'm a Star Wars expert, because it sounds so presumptuous. But it is, like, the one thing that I feel like if I had no prep and someone were like, hey, we need you to fill in for this Dragon Con panel, can you do it? I'd be like, oh yeah, no problem. Like, I can talk about Star Wars easy.
I feel like once we started doing panels at Dragon Con, that's when I was like, all right, I can consider myself an expert in this field. Also, Wired considered us experts enough that they made us
Wired,
they made a video
and
of
by
us.
they, you mean our friend.
it got approved.
That's true.
We are on Wired in the tech support line of videos as Star Wars experts.
Which, yeah. I mean, it's like I still laugh at the idea. And I also don't want it to sound like we don't still learn things. I mean, like I'm going through a bunch of making of books right now for a future set of videos I'm working on. I'm like, I'm learning so much about stuff that I should have known this. And it's still, there's plenty to learn, and there's plenty that I get wrong all the time. So like, I definitely don't want it to be like, we're experts and we're right all the time and we are infallible. But it's, I don't know, it was just my initial reaction to the question was like, I doubt it, but in a way.
That's what's fun about being a Star Wars expert is that people are constantly asking you questions about Star Wars, sometimes the same questions, but you know, you can have different answers at different times of your life and, you know, learn different lessons from Star Wars throughout your life as you age and grow wiser.
I mean, I think I would consider most of the Star Wars content creators on the internet as experts. Like, I've learned a lot from all of them. And there are plenty of people who don't create content who are also experts, who just like love living in the universe. I feel like the bar is actually set pretty low to become an expert, because all of us probably became experts just watching the movies enough times and being a normal fan.
Now, do we take it a step further and print new business cards?
Star Wars expert. I think I just wrote down like professional nerd once, or professional Star Wars nerd. And I like that. I think I'm going to stick with that.
I'm going to fully flex and put Star Wars expert on mine.
All right. That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below, or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.